Ghost stories? No, we don't have anything like that around here. We do have the story of Jacob, but that's as close as you're gonna get. You really want to know? Well, I'm not supposed to tell you, but alright. Just no interrupting. With this, I don't have the patience for it. Let's see. How to describe Jacob Emory? Well, I guess you could say he was the kind of guy you could never take notice of. That isn't to say he was a bad kid in any sense. Many people in this town thought he was the most reliable person for an odd job in the state. But he never really excelled in anything. He was the living proof behind the statement of Jack of all trades, ace of none. Most of this was due to his own lack of will. He dabbled in damn near everything this town could offer him. Automobiles, radio operation, store management, what have you. But he never stuck with anything. His friends and workers went after him about it a number of times, but everybody always got the same unsatisfying response. It just wasn't enough. Needless to say, any friends he kept were either very patient or never spoke of the matter altogether. It was probably inevitable, then, that Jacob would leave to go abroad. I don't remember where he went, but I think Gertrude down the street knew before she passed away. You'll have to scout someone else if you get curious. In any case, no one even tried to stop him. Everybody thought that a little bit of travel would stamp the ambition out of him. Or else feed it until it was no longer an issue. Hell, we even gave him a sending-off party. Which I thought was pretty nice of everybody. So anyway, I think he was gone for 7 years? I can't remember. You'll have to check with somebody else about that too. Anyways, he came back eventually. And he had changed. Obviously enough. He was amiable, energetic, all smiles all the time. And we all quickly learned why. He showed us a souvenir he brought back. A solid black stick. Yeah, I know. But, it was a solid black stick, about the length of a pencil, but had the texture of chalk. We all wondered why on earth such a simple thing would prompt such a spring in his step. Until he gave us a demonstration. He took a piece of paper, and with this stick... God, there's gotta be a better word for it. I'll think of it later. With the stick, he drew a crude circle. It dropped and rested on the border of the paper, like a stone. It didn't leave the paper, but it acted out on it, like... sort of like an old movie projector on a screen. Look, I know how crazy that sounds, and if you feel like playing a skeptic, then you can leave... you can leave me to my craziness, but I know what I saw. Even if everyone's been hushing it up, and that stone he drew dropped. Jake even passed around the paper, and as it was being passed, it rolled around as the paper got tilted. It rolled. None of us had any words for it. What was there even to say? But he continued drawing demonstration after demonstration, stick figures in various pageants and plays, doing everything from fighting each other to making perfect human pyramids. And we all thought it was incredible. That was all the go-ahead he needed. He announced that he planned to put on shows to pay for rent and food, where he would draw anything the crowd members wanted. That we talked to some length about. And he eventually convinced us that it would be safe, his drawings ethical, the practice lucrative and unique, and the attention would not go anywhere outside of the town's borders. Poor Jacob. If I had not been so swept up in the moment, I might have read the signs right then and there and saved the sorry son of a bitch by snapping the terrible thing in half. But I was younger. We all were younger, and we saw no problem with encouraging him with what we all saw as an incredible experience to be shared with everyone else. Now, he didn't have any big radio or television connections, mind you, and the internet wouldn't come around for another decade. So he did what all people on a shoestring budget do. He advertised his show with flyers. Flyers might not mean anything to you city folk, but in a small town they gain a fair glance over from time to time. And what's more, Jacobs managed to stick out by having little stick figures jump up and down and whatnot to get people's attention. His first show must have gotten nearly 60 or so people, probably a lot more than that, to show up. And his shows were fantastic. Someone would shout out a scene from a play or a comedy sketch, and Jake's hands would fly over a white wall like a bird. He'd been holding back when he made that stone, that's for damn sure. His illustrations were all spot on, and he could make an incredible human figure in minutes. Come to think of it, I don't remember any of his scenes lasting more than 10 minutes to make. They were all really well done scenes, too. Not only could you see a knight charge a castle, Jake would draw the castle's interior as well, like a wedding cake split down the middle, so you could see the knight scale the walls, fight his way through levels to the dungeon, fight back out with the princess, and make a leaping jump off castle parapets onto his getaway horse, all in complete silence. Not realistic, no, but that wasn't part of the appeal. None of us went in there expecting something real. When a scene or a sketch was finished, either the characters would leave off a wall or he'd cover the wall with white paint. This was good, in a way. It gave these shows a time limit, so that when he'd finished with all the 4 walls in the room, everyone knew the show was over until the paint dried. Jake, meanwhile, was changing in a bad way. I'd mentioned that upon his return, he'd been extremely energetic. Well, that energy, that vitality, or whatever you want to call it, it never left him. Not for an instant. Far from it, it seemed to grow in him. And he enjoyed it all too much. His eyes grew wider. He slept gradually less and less over time. His statements and opinions became more radical and frenzied. And though he was never a pushover, he was starting to make people nervous in his company. A month or two passed, and Jake's audience grew like a wildfire. Nearly everyone in the town paid to see Jake's art in action, to the point where he had to rent out larger and larger spaces for everyone to sit. But now, he didn't stop after one scene was done. He moved directly onto the next, put on the next blank space on the wall. Sometimes to the intriguing effect of causing scenes to mingle, which the crowd loved. The subject matter got more and more wild and immoral. The monsters got more bizarre and creative, the fighters using more impossible weaponry, all for the sake of the crowd's interests. Jake got steadily more indulgent, which we figured was from the money. And he became a drinker and a womanizer, neither of which got rid of that vitality, by the way. Some of those women claimed that they'd woken up in the middle of the night to see him scribbling with that stick on a drawing pad, a gigantic grin on his face. And while most of them said that they'd assumed he was drawing them in the nude, there's rumors that one or two of them got glances at that notepad. Those anonymous few supposedly said that those drawings absolutely weren't nude pictures. But neither of them, whoever they are, will say what he was actually drawing. Don't bother looking for the notepads or the flyers either, though. They're all gone now. I'm getting off track. Point is, he was hitting the bottle, and that's important, because it was that drinking that would eventually ruin everything. On the night of one of his performances, As he walked in front of his cheering crowd, it was immediately apparent to everybody that he was completely drunk. I was in the front row, and I could smell the bourbon on him from 10 feet away. The show started. He went through a bunch of sketches and scenarios the crowd recommended. When at the end, somebody asked if he would draw himself. Everybody cheered at the idea. I guess everyone had been wondering what his creations thought of him. And he eventually obliged. No sooner had Jacob finished connecting the final 2 lines on his coat than every single character across the vast, expansive wall all stopped and looked directly at that illustration. Lovers stopped kissing, clowns stopped laughing, robots stopped fighting pirates, everything stopped and looked at the Jacob illustration. The crowd died almost instantly. I still remember Jake's face at that moment. Pale, white, and full of terrible comprehension at his mistake. He was looking around desperately for the cans of white paint he'd forgotten to put out before the show. Everybody else? They were all looking at the fake Jacob. That Jacob reached into his jacket pocket, pulling out a black stick of his own. And we all watched as he drew a door. He pushed on his side, and the door swung open, allowing him to walk through onto the floor of the auditorium. The rest was an absolute hellish pandemonium. People screamed and ran for the exit as Jacob's characters, both those currently on the wall and those which had previously left before being covered up, ran out of their own exit, throwing pies, shooting lasers, blowing fire and poison and the impossible. I was close enough to the exit to escape. And I only gave one single backwards glance. The scene will haunt me for the rest of my days. Jacob Emory was being dragged by his creations, kicking and screaming through the door his copy had created. The auditorium burnt down, obviously enough. But I have no idea how many characters escaped, what happened to the fake Emory, or how many people died. The fire brought the fire department from the nearest cities up to over 100 miles away. They in turn brought the police force, which brought the government, who hushed everything up. They took the flyers and any art Jacob had made and swore everyone to secrecy or else life detainment. The fire was blamed on a cigarette in the garage during a basketball game. And we all eventually went on with our lives. Jacob was made to have never existed. In retrospect, I realize everything. Jacob hadn't been creating illustrations. Illustrations don't move, much less act or attack. They're just images people see, shadows made to look like real things. Jacob had been making life, actual thinking things in some alternate dimension, using a power that was never meant to fall into mortal hands. And he got drunk on his power. His punishment was probably well deserved. Incidentally, the government screwed up on 2 different accounts. They did a damn good job silencing everyone. But the proof remains. The ruins are still there, you know. The auditorium's ruins. I hear they're going to start reconstruction soon, which will wipe out any remaining evidence someone can definitely see, but I went back there once, several years after the fire. Just once. Amidst the rubble, covered in ash, I saw something squirming. I looked closer and it was Jacob Emory's hand on the wall. Exactly like it had been 3 years ago. Sweaty, but calloused, if I remember correctly. But it was constantly flailing, as if the body it was supposed to be attached to was still writhing in the flames. That was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 was those creations. Like I said, I don't know how many escaped or how many the government agents found and caught. But I will only say this. Only this. Those tall grass meadows on the outskirts of town, don't go into them. Ever. You were asking about those white figures you've been seeing at night, right? Let me reiterate. Or rather, let me make something perfectly clear. and then maybe you'll understand why. This town doesn't have ghost stories. Hello, my darlings. It's me, Camilla. It's been a while since you've last heard my voice, hasn't it? Well, Danny gave me the spotlight for just a moment, so that way I could tell you all, thank you so much for all of your support, and for watching this video. Not only does your support truly mean the world to Danny, but it also means the world and more to me. And speaking of support, if you want to continue to support me and Danny and the rest of the faces of this channel, Danny just launched a brand new Patreon page. They've been actively posting content on there, ranging from behind the scenes looks to unreleased early access videos and audios, as well as some Patreon exclusive content too. $3 is not only for general support, but it also gets you access to the behind the scenes content, like work in progress pieces of scripts and thumbnails, as well as full uncut audio recordings chock full of Danny's, well, bloopers. And you also get to say in on various polls that they'll be putting up in the future, in regards to what videos they should work on next, what to post or upload next, what games they should stream next, etc. $6 gets you all the previous tier's benefits, but it also gets you a 4 to 7 day early access pass to all of Danny's finished thumbnail art, their completed original audio roleplays, as well as their creepypasta narrations. They've mentioned briefly to me that they won't be including audios using other people's scripts, like the ones they found on Reddit, for example. However, they did say that they would do it if they were given explicit permission by the scriptwriters first. And included in the $6 tier, Danny says that I can read your name aloud at the end of videos and audios, which I'm sure many of you would appreciate hearing my lovely voice give each of your names the spotlight they deserve. And lastly, $20 gets you all of the previous tier's special benefits, all including one very special catch. You also get access to all of Danny's Patreon exclusive content. These include audio roleplays, artwork, unreleased script ideas, and the like. Things that will never see the light of day anywhere but there. Please feel free to check out Danny's Patreon if you can. But if some of you can't afford to do Patreon, but would still like to support me and Danny and the rest of the channel with a friendly donation, we also have a Ko-Fi page. It may look barren now, but Danny's told me that she fully intends to make more use of it by winter, by opening up audio commissions. So keep your eyes open for when that particular announcement goes up. Maybe I'll be the one to give the special announcement, including all the details about that. Links for both the Patreon and the Ko-Fi will be down in the description. but they'll also be available in Danny's YouTube page's About section, as well as their Linktree page. Thank you so very much to our very first $9 patron, Polyup. You are absolutely amazing and such an adorable little sweetheart. And I know for sure that Danny appreciates your support. I know I most certainly appreciate your patronage, my dear. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video, and for watching this far ahead in the ending. We promise that there is more to come soon, everybody. We wish you all a wonderful day, afternoon, or night, wherever you all are in this big, beautiful world. I love you all so very much, my dearest, most precious little siblings of mine. And I hope to see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.